Hello there, everybody. This is Alex from Hardcoin Guys, being my guide for X-Men Origins Wolverine on hard difficulty. Today we're doing Chapter 5, entitled The Wolverine. I couldn't exactly remember what the hell I was talking about there for a second. My brain's kind of out of loop. I just started up this video pretty much just as soon as Episode 4 got done rendering, and I'm now currently uploading that one. But yeah, this is going to be the final chapter of the entire game. There's going to be, I want to say, 3 boss fights, 2 Leviathans, and then eventually the final boss, of course, being Deadpool. So, yeah. Starting off, we're going to have a couple of the cloner machete enemies. This part is probably going to prove to be a little bit more difficult than some, because if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you can throw enemies off. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, there's our first problem that we're going to have to deal with is, even if we wanted to take these guys and throw them off the ledge, that's not going to be possible. So, instead, I just rely on Old Handy and just, grab them, throw them on the ground, and then just keep bouncing them around and what have you. And usually does the trick, usually does the job pretty well. And of course, when they become too numerous, I just go berserk and go through them because, it's going to be a pretty long fight. So we'll get enough rage back eventually. And we're going to have to solve the puzzle soon or later. I thought the shifters are supposed to spawn, but I think they probably spawn at a certain point. But for right now, this little area is going to essentially be our hub world for just a few minutes. And then we'll eventually get back into the action of things. These are not buttons. These are just things that will eventually appear. I think they do eventually appear as buttons, but right now we need to use this, I think, to get up on that ledge. I should have probably recorded this or edited this a bit better, so apologies in advance for kind of messing some things up. Speaking of messing things up, well, this is not really much of a big deal, because I kind of intentionally did it anyway. I left the first Leviathan fight pretty much just kind of intact. I didn't fast forward it or anything. However, I did fast forward through the second fight with the second Leviathan. So, yeah, mainly because when you fight more than one in one chapter, that kind of just sucks. It goes on forever. And I know in earlier chapters I said I was going to probably fast forward through all the Leviathan fights again, and any of the other Titan things, like the Wendigos, for example. But, I think I might have missed something back there, I'm not sure. But I figured, you know what, screw it, I'll just leave these guys in. I'll leave this one in because it's like the final episode, and I assume that people might be more interested in watching this one, so I might as well keep it relatively as clean in terms of editing as I possibly can, and hopefully potentially as guide friendly as possible. But then again, if you're in chapter 5 and well, yeah, by now, if you're in chapter 5, then you probably should know how to take down Leviathans just fine by now, I would assume. And that's kind of the key thing for Chapter 5 in general, is like, at this point in time, you've already gotten to Chapter 5 if you're following along as a guide. So, most of this stuff is just kind of just, the same thing as it's always been. There is actually a strategy that you can use against Deadpool. So for those that are curious, there is a way to beat him a bit better. I don't specifically know the best way of doing that said strategy. However, potentially for this episode, I think I might just leave another person's video in the description so you can check out how he did it, because I fight Deadpool in probably not the best of ways. I end up beating him anyway, but at the same time, there is somebody out there that has done Deadpool a lot better than I have, and he has a much better way of tackling that. I just, at the time of recording, already finished recording all my gameplay, essentially before I watched his gameplay on how he did it. So, or whoever's gameplay it was. I'm not sure, but either way, yeah. So, since, again, we are in the final chapters, there's going to be, like, tons of enemies we're going to eventually just try to throw at you at the last second, because that's just kind of how a lot of hack-and-slash games end up going. They're going to try to throw you with a gauntlet. However, the gauntlet itself is not anything to be worried about too much. The shifters are pretty much the thing that you really want to kind of worry about, because shifters suck. However, these, statue-based enemies, these machete-type guys, they're relatively nothing. And eventually, the spikes themselves would clear up, and then we could just put them on them if need be. Which, there's one right there, so that should have cleaned him, but I don't know if... You know, I don't remember if these guys can be killed by spikes or not. I don't remember. But either way, just do what you do normally. Berserk, you know, use your rage arts, or whatever you call them. That way you can kind of go through these guys just a bit better. I personally kind of like the screw one a little bit more. For those that have been, you know, potentially following along through the series. Then you will no doubt know for a fact that the... Okay, it was R2 triangle, not X. I said that in a previous video. I said it was X, but no, that's not true. It's R2 triangle. Oops. Oh, sorry about that. I'm making weird noises. My body's making weird noises. I apologize. I kind of yawned there for a second, so that's what's going on. It's been quite a long day. It's been kind of a long weekend, so I'm kind of a bit tired, to be honest with you. But, yeah, we're in the final chapter, so at this point, Wolverine is practically done, and then I can just go back to doing something else in life, / recording the next guide, if need be. Which I probably will. I think I probably will. I don't know if I'm going to start recording it, like, today, but I do have plans on what I want to do. At this point, I'm kind of leaning more toward possibly doing Deadpool, because I'm still kind of in the mood for hack-and-slash games. But I did leave Dead Space up there on the polls to see if anybody would be interested in maybe one or the other. I haven't gotten any votes still, so I don't know. But yeah, alright. Leviathan fight. You know how it goes. I just go berserk, get that nice little bit of a screw attack going, and then after that just do the slam attack just to get some extra damage, just to try to kill him a little bit faster. Because I'm sure by now most people might know, if you've watched the rest of the guide, or at least chapter 1, that these guys are just annoying as hell to deal with because of the armor system. And then on top of that, they're tanky as shit, and then on top of that, I just don't really like fighting them in general anymore. You fight them a lot, and a little too much, in my opinion. The Wendigos are a little bit better because they're less tanky, and they don't have that phase change thing that the Leviathans do. So, yeah, and the constant slams that you feel like shouldn't hit you, but they do. It's almost like it's a goddamn fighting game in here or something. But other than that, yeah, you know, first guy is just about as simple as they were before. You pretty much just wait until he does a slam, or you wait until the perfect opportunity when he's just kind of not out of it. That's kind of the wrong word to use, but more so just a little bit on the quote-unquote stunned side. Although, again, that's probably not the best word to use for it, but basically when he's just kind of, you know, in lag, I guess, in recovery frames, if you want to use potential fighting game terminology, I guess, I don't know. But we fought these things a dozen times, so I don't really need to go over the specifics of how to basically defeat the damn thing. I assume by now people are probably most likely going to be wanting to watch the final boss instead of potentially the rest of this. Or unless you need to solve a puzzle or something. Something of that kind. But there you go. First mini-boss and technical boss of this chapter down. That is 1 out of 3. Also, oh god, I think that burger I had earlier, I think is starting to come back and kill me now. Yeah, I had a gas station burger, and it was one of those, like, off-brand type ones that you get. And I kind of regret my decision. Now, it's basically just an off-brand fucking gas station anyway, so I don't know. I will also be fast-forwarding through the segments that I do end up messing up, so you will be seeing a fast-forward here in I don't know how long. This was not supposed to happen. I didn't really understand what was going on at the time when I did this puzzle. I kind of forgot what I was supposed to do. So don't worry, my ingenuity does eventually come through and I do figure things out. And yes, I know about the dog tag, and I do get the dog tag. However, I get it when after I fast forward the video. So you're gonna have to wait until after that shows up for me to do that. And I think over here there's basically just nothing. It just seems to be mostly just vases that you can break. So I don't know why they put that there for, but they did. I don't know. Nice jump there, actually, to be honest with you. That was actually a pretty nice jump, because It would have sucked if I missed it. But yeah, basically, the object here is to get this block down here. I'm just kind of looking around to see what you're supposed to do with it. And then eventually just dawns on me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you're supposed to take it up here. And so that's what I do. And then I jump on top of that, and then I make my way across to get to the main area that you're supposed to go to. And then I realize, well, wait a minute, I could just use the block to get up on that big old platform up here. And so I do. Well, not even the block, but the stairs. Yeah, it wasn't the block you needed. It was the, you just go back and you jump on that platform. But there you go. That solves that. So, yeah, dog tag, jump on that ledge that's glowing green, and then you jump to the right. But, yeah, shifters, they're going to be, showing up, and I just focus on them the best I can. I go for the grab into triangle, so that way I can do something like this. Now, the reason why they're bugging out like that, and it's because, I don't know, the game's strange, but look at this shit. Yeah, look at that. Look at that shit. I eventually let go of pressing triangle, or at the very least, I screwed it up. And the game kind of fucked me for it. But I didn't realize at the time that there were spikes over here, so I should have used that to my advantage too, because I just did right there. Spikes are your best friend in this game, and then alongside that is the grab into triangle move. And yeah, like I said, the reason why that grab into triangle looked so bizarre was because my game tends to do that sometimes, where it just kind of acts a little strange. I don't know why it does that. It's just a bug. And it basically forces me to continue the QuickTime event, even though the QuickTime event should have been done and finished. And I'm supposed to do it while it's doing the animation of being finished. It's very bizarre. So, I don't know. I don't really gripe about it too much, because I can still get away with doing the animation. It's just one of those things that's just kind of annoying. And speaking of annoying, knock these guys in the air and then just grab them and then slam them on the ground. And if they try to do that shit where they wall jump after you throw them, then just grab them again. Fuck them, It's just one of the better ways of dealing with them. And when they're in red, go for the grab and go for the triangle. Or just press triangle near them. Because you're supposed to have the ability of brutal kill, which is, triangle when somebody is near death. But I don't think it really ever works that well. At least it never really feels like it works that well. At least in my case. Honestly, after watching these videos again, it kind of makes me just almost want to go through and do it again. Also, nice, funny enough, that was a nice dodge from the flame machete guy. I basically just avoided his entire attack and didn't have to deal with that shit. But yeah, this is why it would have been nice to have the ledges to throw enemies off of, but we don't have those, unfortunately. And of course, flame guys, again, you know how to deal with them at this point. If you see the game slow motion, just dodge, and if you can catch them off guard, you can grab them and then go into the triangle and kill them a bit faster. Pretty cool execution move in my opinion. And then for the regular henchmen, you can just leap on them and it just gets an insta kill. We're five upgrades into blades at this point, so realistically, we're doing a hefty amount of damage toward them. So yeah, it's pretty good. Everything's pretty Gucci, to be honest. I should have probably fast-forwarded this too, but it is what it is. It's too late. It's not a big deal, really. But, of course, all you gotta do is just take this pillar and push it toward the other button. The thing is, I still find it weird that the pillar started off on the left the left side from the door. On that one that we just came through, it started off on there, but it wasn't like in the middle of the area. It was just more so closer to the button, which I still find kind of weird, because it kind of off-puts my puzzle thinking brain, because it's like, well, wait a minute, the button that I need is probably way over there somewhere. Well, no, that's not the case. It's just right near where the goddamn button needs to be, or it's right, like the button's right near where the pillar's at. So yeah, very odd. Also, that's another pretty cool brutal kill. That's what I like about this game a lot, and to be fair, watching it again kind of makes me almost want to just go back through it again and play it. Chapter 1 is great until you get to the present tense part of it. It's just mostly, the Africa areas that I really like playing through a lot, because they just look cool and they're a lot of fun to go through. They have a lot of fun puzzles, they have a lot of fun platforming, and they have a lot of fun fights. But then you get to like the cybernetic areas, and then all of a sudden I just don't like anything anymore. And in my opinion, I feel like if this game was just mostly centered around Africa for at least a good while, and then you would change into other areas. I don't know if I would like that better or not. I don't know. Actually. Just basically make it Resident Evil 5. There you go. But I feel like people probably would have griped, most likely, like they did with Resident Evil 5. Which is still absurd, but still a weird gripe to have. I mean, I don't know. If you know, you know. I don't know. People get mad at everything, it seems. One sec. Damn. Oh, I'm going to clear my throat, actually. Sorry. But yeah, anyway, so shifter fight, it's basically about the same as it was before. You pretty much just try to grab them and go for triangle and then break them up that way. However, that's kind of hard to do a lot of the time because, well, one, I have shit like this that happens to me. And yeah, I have to keep that going. I pretty much just have to keep it going or else I'm screwed. Parry when you get a chance if you're decent at parrying, because parrying the shifters is not what I would consider the easiest thing to do ever, but it's definitely something that's possible. And if you have the chance, you know, you got spikes around the area, you could probably, you know, try to throw one into one. If you're lucky enough. If you don't accidentally throw them into one of their own phase shifter thingies here that they tend to throw out at you a lot. And yeah, I guess I was trying to, if I remember correctly, I think I was trying to just run away and just continue the fucking puzzle because I kind of got tired of fighting these bitches, to be honest with you. I really got tired of fighting these guys. They became so obnoxious. I just eventually gave up and said, screw it, fine. If you want to fight so bad, you know, we'll fucking fight so bad. We'll just go ahead and do it up here, I guess, and I'll just go berserk and finish you guys off. Yeah, once again, now we got to fight the machete guys, which at this point in the game, I actually enjoy fighting them because the arenas make it so much fun. And that's what I'm talking about, like, with the African areas, is because you have all these environments that have, like, tons of spikes and traps and different types of things that you can throw enemies into. And I just feel like a lot of the other areas throughout the game just don't really utilize a lot of that stuff very much. I think the traps and the the stuff you can throw enemies into just makes the game a lot more fun and enjoyable and a lot faster to kind of go through, especially for people like me that just want to kind of, like, we know what we're doing, you know, we know how to do all this stuff, and I just want to kind of lessen the fights and make it easier for people, so that way if they, you know, if they are struggling, then you can at least have a chance to get a breather. And that's where the spike things come in. Yeah, Chapter 2 had it too, with the tundra area. Like, you had tons of trees. Only problem is you had tons of fucking enemies, and they would eventually just take up everything. So, I don't know. And also, I just have a huge bias toward these areas too, because I played the demo way back in the day. And just grew really fond of Chapter 1's like early stage because of that demo. It just was such a good fun demo, and you know, a lot of nostalgia for it and what have you. Oh yeah, so now we got to puzzle solve again. This one's relatively easier than the other one. You just essentially run up there, jump on this button, and then go as fast as you can back to the other side. It's not, you don't have to be like super fast, but just keep in mind that you gotta be at least a little bit faster. Because I think the second one goes down as well. Because I know the first pillar goes down for sure. So. Also, maybe it's just a me thing, but I kind of get like a Splatterhouse vibe from the areas a little bit. Like in-game area, kind of. Mainly because of like the sort of pseudo-jungly look. Because if I remember correctly, I think there's like an area in Splatterhouse that has like a very sort of jungle-ish look to it. But I don't know why I'm thinking that for. That beats me. I still haven't figured out what the hell the name of that one mythology was that Bionicle takes inspiration from. It's like, again, I remember it starts with an M. We're talking about this in the last video, so I can... Oh, that's just my pen. Just ignore that. I can check out and see what it was. Let me see. It's not based on My Hero Academia. Yeah, it's mostly like the names of them that come from something else. Used words out of Polynesian languages. Ah, Maori. I think I probably pronounced that wrong, but it's M-A-O-R-I. But it's A with that little dash above it, so I'm not sure how you're supposed to properly pronounce that, and I apologize for being bad at that. I usually like to try to be as proper about pronunciation as I possibly can, but, you know, sometimes it's just above my pay grade. And there's just things I don't know and I don't want to accidentally mispronounce. But yeah, it was that, and I believe that Marlo Briggs, I think, is based on that too, unless I'm mistaken. And I think, no, well, maybe I think Marlo Briggs might have been based on Mayan. I know Splatterhouse was based on, I'm pretty sure Splatterhouse was Mayan as well, I think. Or Aztec, I don't know. I think it was Aztec god stuff, I believe. Well, whatever, I'm stupid when it comes to other myths outside of, like, Greek and Norse at this point, because, you know, God of War ruined me forever, so hopefully you can forgive an imbecile like me, and just keep in mind that I'm very ignorant about a lot of things. But yeah, second Leviathan fight, it's just the same as it ever is. I'm just fast-forwarding through this. Don't worry about the shifters, who gives a shit, just deal with the Leviathan. The small guys, if they get in your way, just throw them somewhere else, and if it gets that bad, you know, grab triangle, because you probably should have plenty of time to do what you can. I ran back here just to essentially get out of the way, because these guys were just chasing me down and just would not stop. And I did eventually end up focusing on the smaller groups of enemies instead of actually focusing on the Leviathan itself, which, of course, made the fight go a bit longer. So, again, you know, fair warning, if you don't have to do that, you could just fight the big guy first instead. But if these small guys do get on your nerves and you really want to take care of them, just, you know, deal with them. But just remember, you can't throw them off the ledge, though, so that's important. And then, of course, when it comes to these cloner enemies, what you're going to want to do, of course, is just take out the guy that's essentially doing the substitution jutsu, or the sexy clone jutsu, basically. Just, you know, watch out for them and take them out first. I'd say focus on them first. And then, yeah, if you got any spikes around here, then use them to your advantage. It was a nice kill. I like that. Yeah, basically, same old, same old. Just the same old stuff. At the very least, I hope you guys can enjoy, for the most part, the action on screen. That's important to me, because if the game bores everyone else too, well, it's not boring me. I'm just saying, like, if it bores everyone, then that's just not good. I enjoy it. So that's usually fine enough for me most of the time. I also, like, for me, it's about, you know, trying to enjoy it myself alongside hopefully hopefully everybody else enjoys it. But if they don't, then that's fine. Because as long as I enjoy it, you know, that's the end all be all of it, I guess. Basically, Hardcorean. As long as somebody enjoys what they're doing, then I guess it's okay. But yeah, shifters, they finally appeared in this area. I think this was the first time appearing in this area, I believe. I know we fought like a couple of them already, but... so, yeah, I'm just going to do the same thing I do to them all the time. Go for parries. Knock them in the air. Grab them. Slam them. That kind of thing. The same old, you know, rinse, slather, repeat type stuff. But then after this, I think we have... Oh, I forgot. We have another boss fight before Deadpool. I almost forgot. We have to fight Sabretooth. Yeah. So there's like 4 bosses. There's 2 mini-bosses, and then there's, well, you know, Deadpool. So, well, Sabretooth and Deadpool. 2 mini-bosses and 2 big bosses. I don't know. What the fuck? Okay, it worked, I guess. I don't know. But before that, I guess, we have to fight these jackasses, and I, unfortunately, got shotgun blasted right into the fire, which is not good. So that wastes one of the things that I could have used. But that's fine, because these guys are easy enough to just grab and take out anyway. Shotgun guys are relatively simple. For those that are not aware, by now, just in case, it makes it way easier if you go into feral vision. They tend to not be super aggressive when you're in feral vision for some strange reason. I don't know why they're just like that. It makes no sense to me. Also, I remember like when I was starting this guide out, when I was doing recording for the gameplay footage, I remember how long it took me to eventually learn how to utilize the grab triangle move. Because I thought you actually had to like hold it while you're grabbing the enemy, but that's not the case. You just grab them, press it, and then wait for it to glow, and then you just go on your merry way. Yeah, another section with nice amounts of traps, and this is, you know, going to make it a lot more interesting and a lot more fun to kind of fight these assholes with. So, I think it makes the game a lot more fancy, if that makes sense. You know how, like, Devil May Cry is reliant almost on style? Like, it's not completely a thing that you need to rely on all the time, but it's something that people kind of grow accustomed to, and they just do it a lot, right? And it's nice to have style in Devil May Cry. It looks nice, it feels nice, and you get rewarded for it. And I feel like this is the type of game that doesn't necessarily reward you as much as, say, Devil May Cry does. But the fact that you get to kill an enemy almost instantaneously is what I would consider a hell of an award. Or reward, sorry. And then coming in here, you know, Shadow Clone bastard trying to hide, but that ain't gonna work on us, huh? Saw him right before he disappeared. Motherfucker thought he was like one of those ghillie suit wearing assholes in airsoft fights. The ones that take it way too far and just go way too deep in the game. You know, I've never actually played airsoft or paintball for that matter. I always wanted to, but I never got the chance to. Airsoft always looked kind of fun. A bit. I know they have, you know, specific rules and stuff, but rules, schmools. Moving on, we are now going to be, of course, fighting Sabretooth. And he's pretty much just the same fight as you fought him before, but now we pretty much have all of our skills. If he does a bunch of attacks at once, you're better off just mashing block. Unless you're really good at parry, but unlike me, I'm not the best at parry in this game. And right there, I think he has the ability, I think you have the ability to parry him when you get grabbed, but I'll have to take a look and see if I ever end up doing it or not, or see if it actually is a thing you could do. So, one of the best things to probably potentially rely on here is parries. And, of course, you know, getting extra damage is great, of course. But the reason why you want parries a lot is because of the fact that you can just essentially, you know, get some nice good damage on him, knock him back a bit, and get a little bit of rage. So that way you can go into Berserk and even do more damage eventually. If he blocks your attacks, go into one of those attacks where you just grab and then, well, you know, not grab. You just press light a bunch and then do a slam attack. Yeah, that's how it works. I don't know why I'm talking on my ass for. I have no idea. This may be kind of boring to some, but it's, in my opinion, one of the better ways of dealing with him. You can throw him on like spikes and stuff because there are objects in the room you could throw him on. However, you know, it's a bit kind of hard to get him grabbed, so I just rely on the good old-fashioned to take care of it. And yeah, just wail him away, just be in his face, be aggressive, go for parries. Try not to get grabbed, that's important. If you're dying, just run away, heal, regenerate, because as far as I know, I don't know if Sabretooth can heal. But I do know for a fact, while editing, I noticed that Deadpool could heal. And that's scary, so I kept, yeah, we'll keep that in mind for the fight. And I will warn you guys, the fight will be a bit long. So, be prepared for that. It's almost as, it's basically as long as this, but like double, maybe even triple longer than this. Ish. Because I think you only need to fight Sabretooth in one phase. I don't think you need to deal with him much after that. But yeah, relatively simple, straightforward. Just keep beating the shit out of him, wait for him to go for a flurry attack. And then after he does that, then you want to go for a block. Or parry, I mean, sorry. You want to go for that parry, and then get a nice chunk of damage on him and get your rage back. Having full rage for the Deadpool fight would be helpful. However, I think, of course, if you do die, restart checkpoint, you should be able to get your rage back. So if worse comes to worse, and you need to die, that's fine. But I think we get rage anyway here. So that works. So yeah, this is Deadpool fight. And again, I will leave in the description some tricks and tips that... Actually, I think when I was doing this gameplay, I think I did watch the guy do this stuff. Huh. For me, I don't know exactly the perfect strategy on how to beat Deadpool, but I will leave a link in the description for you guys to check out that covers most of everything. So what I do is pretty much the same thing to Sabretooth. Don't worry about like what he can and can't do right now because that's not important. Just treat him like you did the Sabretooth fight and just grab him, throw him around, try to knock him into obstacles. Use Berserk whenever, you get the chance. If you knock him in the air, you can just go for a grab like this. You can only get like 2 slams, which sucks, but hey, it is what it is. Go for parries. They're big time help because if you go for a parry, you'll be put in this segment where you have to pretty much just, mash your way out of it. But the benefit of it is you get nice rage out of it, decent bit of damage out of it. And on top of that, you can bound him, so you can pretty much just knock him on the ground, and then possibly get a grab. So yeah, again, you only get like 2, but it's definitely worthwhile to have. It's a fun fight. It's actually, in my opinion, probably one of the better fights of the game, along with Sabretooth. I think these are really fun fights to do. Characters that have anti-anim. I said that completely wrong, and I apologize to all the X-Men fans out there. I butchered your word. I always fuck it up. I always have a hard time saying it. So let's just say the healing factor, like those that have, this healing factor ability and such, kind of makes it more fun. I like those types of fights in games when you have a character that's practically an equal on your level in terms of either abilities or whatever powers you both may have. I think it's kind of fun watching the two of them kind of go at it. I'm a sucker for, human to human fight, as in like equal to equal, or whatever. And I'm also a sucker for like human versus gigantic, like god-like character. So pretty much think Asura's Wrath, even though I've never beaten Asura's Wrath yet, but still, think of it like that. Where like these giant gods, and then, the guy just punches a hand and just breaks through it. One Punch Man, in a sense, also does that too, to be fair. So, anyway, next up is probably one of the most difficult fights of the game, if not the most difficult fight of the game. And do keep in mind that Deadpool can heal. And so, what I'm going to rely on strategy-wise here is pretty much just try to get as far in and as close as I possibly can, so we can't use the Cyclops laser shit on me, because that's annoying as hell. It does a ton of damage. If you do happen to take a lot of damage, just run away. Don't try to, engage him. And just let your healing factor kind of kick in. One of the best ways to probably continuously have your healing factor kick in is if you're just in combat with him. So you want to try to keep him juggled whenever he gets close to you and teleports in. And that's probably what makes this fight extremely hard, especially like when it comes to parries. But I guarantee you that parries will be your friend. Right there, that was just a simple dodge roll. I dodge rolled into him on accident, and it ended up letting me kind of, get a nice hit in and throw him around. Square, square, triangle is your move that I would recommend using to knock him in the air. I wouldn't rely too much on just regular triangle. I'm sorry. If you can get a nice parry in, you're going to want to go for those. That's going to be a big help. And I know visually and commentary-wise might not be the best of advice, but like I said, I'll leave a video in the description below to kind of give you guys a better visual and a better way of figuring out how to fight Deadpool. And I know it's like, well, you're the guy doing the guide. You should be, like, it's your guide, dude. You should show us how to do it properly. Well, I'm showing you how I did it, rather than, I guess, the full-on proper way. Because at the time, I didn't really, understand how that could be potentially done. So, yeah. But yeah, if he gets too far away, leap toward him. Try to get as close in for leaps as you possibly can. And as you can see right here, I'm relying on the square, square, triangle move to just get as many of these toss and throws as I possibly can. If you throw him off the ledge, he's just going to teleport back. So, keep that in mind. And yeah, more parries, of course. Berserk as often as you possibly can as well, so you can get some damage in. And the worst part about this fight is the fact that it's a 2-phase fight. This fight specifically. Like, the entire Deadpool fight in general is 3 phases long, if you think about it. But this fight on top of this, nuclear area or whatever the fuck we're on, yeah, this giant building thing is going to be at least 2 fights. Also, this is a really nice scenery. I never really looked at it that much, but it's actually kind of cool how they, at least somewhat for the most part, built up an actual city area, like all around. Video games are just, they're just cool, They're just really cool. Because who knows, like, these characters could be, like, fucking toy size. In, like, this big, gigantic, open map. You know? It's just insane. It's insane to think about that. Yeah, that flurry kick right there, that's really hard to kind of just defend against. I believe you can block most of his attacks, if not all of his attacks, except for the laser. As far as I'm aware, I don't think you can block the laser. So, you're just better off just trying to dodge it the best you can. You practically just have to... You have to guess a lot in this fight, and that's why I think this fight is a pain in the ass. I think Deadpool is probably one of the most fun fights to do, and he has the cool... He's got, you know, a really cool design. Again, I've never actually seen the movie, so I do apologize, but I do know of some of the scenes and what have you. But, you know, I know the whole thing with Deadpool, and they eventually, you know, gave him a chance to shine, which he did, of course, in terms of Marvel movies and games. So, he gets his time to shine. He doesn't just become this. But I still think this version of him is still pretty cool, just in general. I know a lot of people hate it. Or at least they did. And I assume that most Deadpool fans probably didn't like it either, to be fair. I wasn't really much of a big Deadpool fan growing up anyway, so... I'm not really like a big Deadpool head nowadays either. I was for like a little bit, but not very long. I don't know. I think Deadpool can be fun if he's done in the right instance, but I feel like there's been too much Deadpool as of recent that kind of just started to water him down a bit. Especially compared to him, you know, like, say, in the comics, for example. It just seems like a lot of things have changed. Also, what the hell? Like, we're almost done with this video, but how the fuck does he have, like, almost a full goddamn health bar? How long do I have left? Like, I got, like, a minute left. Like, does he just get eaten? Or something? Oh, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, I forgot that either my game is buggy as shit, or that's what the game wants you to do, is have his health bar fully go back up. I think it's just buggy. I think that's what's going on, but yeah. Dodge the lasers whenever they break the walls. That's obvious enough. The game will slow down to let you basically know, like, hey, it's about to break. So just be careful of that. And then, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Square, square, triangle, grab. Couple of grabs, and just throw him off. Like, just, you know, don't give a shit. Just do what you can. Throw his ass off. You get the chance, hit him with that screw attack. Best chance, hit him with parry as much as you possibly can. If parries are just not your thing, then go for the square, square, triangle, or at least an uppercut of some sort, and do a hefty bit of damage on him. Because as you can see right now, I'm doing quite a bit. And that should be practically close to about being it. I'm getting a little too bit cocky here, but it works, kind of. Knocks him right off, so do a bit of damage. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think he does heal, but it's at a very, very, very slow rate that is almost somewhat not noticeable, but it can be. And this should be it. Final hit is actually a parry, so pretty goddamn nice if you ask me. And anyway, as for everything else, that is it for X-Men Origins Wolverine on hard difficulty. And yeah, so I don't really have much to say right now. I usually have a lot of things to say at the very end of these guides, but I'll say this. I'll just run over it real quick. This is a 1 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. In terms of my median on the scale, it definitely is not as hard as most of the other games I've played. It is almost without a challenge until, like, maybe possibly the very end, where Deadpool is, at the very least, quite a challenge. There are fights in here that are a little bit annoying and a little bit hard sometimes. Like a couple I can think of. Maybe, like, you know, the 2 Wendigos at one point, and, you know, Deadpool and some of the shifter enemies. But it's so dispersed in challenge, like, throughout the entire game, that I really wouldn't call the game very hard, or even remotely hard in a sense, at least for my own taste. There's challenge there, and that's why it gets a 1 out of 10. Like, there's still a semblance of challenge, but it's just, there's not much. Now, however, this is still a good game. I still recommend it. If you can find a copy, grab it. Because as far as I'm aware, I think the PS3 copy goes for quite a lot these days, so I would, you know, look into that to see if you can maybe find, like, a cheaper copy. I think it's just, it's the uncaged edition that does it, I think. I'm not really sure. So, yeah, other than that, for my next guide, I don't really have anything. I have 2 games planned. I don't know which one it's going to be. So it's either going to be Dead Space or Deadpool. I don't know when I'm going to start that. Today is now August 19th. So episode 4 just got uploaded, and it's now done. So if you're watching this now in the future when this video is uploaded, you'll probably be like, what the hell? This video itself might be uploaded the same day. But I think what I'm going to do is, at this point, probably just take down the poll and just do whatever the hell I need to do whatever the hell I want. So I'm just going to delete it now. Nobody really did anything, which I understand. I don't really care either way. I think what I'll probably do, I think I'll do Deadpool. How about that? That's a pretty good segue, isn't it? You know, well, let's do Deadpool. If I do Dead Space 2, it'd probably be on PC, so not that it really matters. I'm just saying in general. But yeah, other than that, hope to see you guys then, and I will see you when we do Deadpool on Hard. I'll have to look into how its chapters work. I'm not really specifically sure again. It's been a while since I've played it and beaten it, so yeah. Thank you all for watching, and of course, I would like to thank my friend for buying me this copy back then, buying me this game back then. It is still a hell of a good hack and slash game, and it's still a hell of a good game to have around. I have sentimental value to it, because he bought this for me alongside a few other things. Like, he bought me, I think it was a Gwenem comic at that time. Chef's Love Shack. He just bought me like a bunch of Christmas shit one year. So yeah, I ain't got much else, man. It's just, I'm weird like that. I'm socially weird, I guess. I don't have any better way to end these things besides the usual. So yeah, hope to see you guys in Deadpool. Take care, everybody.